Welcome to the Ringer Fantasy Football Show. My name is Danny Heifetz, and I am joined by Danny Kelly and Craig Horlbeck. And today it is Power Hour, where we power rank something every week. And today we are power ranking our biggest buy lows and or sell highs, because all our buy lows did really well last week, and we're kind of running out. So now we're going to just figure out all the yucky guys and figure out which ones left are buy lows and which ones we're just going to cut bait. And we're going to do that Power Hour style in a bit. But first, I wanted to hit Monday Night Football because Washington beat the Bengals 38-22 on Monday night, and Jaden Daniels threw the game-winning touchdown to Terry McLaurin with 2 minutes left. And DK, I wanted to ask you, I know that it's only been 3 weeks, but is Jaden Daniels better than Patrick Mahomes?
Maybe, perhaps. I know that during the game last night, we were texting. Craig actually said this. It feels like he's kind of impossible to defend right now, just because of the way that they're mixing what he can do on the ground within the rushing game. The read option stuff has been so crucial for them, converting in both the red zone and on third downs. And when you mix in some deep balls and some ability to throw deep that he hadn't really shown the first 2 weeks that much, again, it makes it very, very difficult for him to defend. So it was a super impressive third game for him, and obviously bodes well for the future for them.
Craig, so, I mean, Jaden Daniels, 21-23, completed 21-23 passes, 254 yards, 2 touchdowns, 12 carries for 39 yards. Set the rookie record for completion percentage, best completion percentage in team history. This one I couldn't believe. Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes, Drew Brees, and Peyton Manning combined had 2 games in their entire career where they scored on every possession. And then Jaden Daniels has done it twice this season, even though the rest of those guys did it twice in their entire career. That kind of blew my mind. And then I'm also curious. I kind of think that Jaden Daniels, the touchdown pass he had to McLaurin in the end zone, was that the best throw of the season? Like, was that even better than what Richardson did in week 1?
I think yes, because you have to factor in the stakes of the moment. Richardson did that in the middle of the first quarter. He slipped and launched up a ball. This was the fourth quarter, 3rd and 7, and he gets absolutely drilled right after he throws this ball, after getting the shit kicked out of him the entire game. Drops it right in the guy's lap. It was unbelievable. I audibly gasped last night at how good that throw was and how good Jaden Daniels looked. Yeah, when you watch somebody like him, guys like Lamar, you're like, all right, I understand why you want a quarterback that's mobile. It felt like he was super calm in the pocket. No one's open. I'll scramble for 8-9 yards. And from halftime on, I was like, I don't see how the Bengals are going to stop him. This just feels like no matter what Burrow does, Washington's going to have an answer.
There was another thing that really impressed me about Jaden Daniels last night, and it was basically there was a point late in the fourth quarter where it looked like Cliff Kingsbury was having trouble, or it was like not fast enough for Jaden Daniels in terms of getting the play call in. Like, he kept looking at the sideline and being like, dude, hurry up. Come on, get me the play call, get it in. And on that touchdown pass, that like critical touchdown pass, they hadn't even really gotten lined up. It was like they were like really rushing to get everything set. And, like you said, he threw it. He got hit so hard right when he threw it. So such a clutch throw. And I was just especially impressed with his ability to kind of like handle the adversity of not getting the play in quick enough. Like he managed the stress of that situation really well.
He looks super calm. He has honestly, a swag to him on the sidelines. He was like laughing,
smiling,
joking around, just like already seems like he's super comfortable. Also, this was like a little bit of a revenge game, kind of. It was like the LSU guy who came after Joe Burrow, and even he was like, yeah, man, every time, like all throughout my career at LSU, it was just like, oh, Joe Burrow this, Joe Burrow that. So I think it probably there was a little extra motivation to win this game, I think, for him.
It's like when you follow up your brother at high school.
Yeah.
You're just like, oh yeah, you're that, yeah, you're just little Michael. And I'm like, no.
Got a chip on your shoulder.
Exactly, yeah. No, also, and honestly, look, Joe Burrow and the Bengals, they played really well in this game. I mean, I think he was off in bits, but like overall, the offense moved the ball. The Bengals defense was just like, I mean, they couldn't get any pressure of any kind on defense, and that just like totally felled them. But I will say, I'm curious. I like the 2 Monday Night Football game thing, and I think that this game this week was exactly why they did the 2 Monday Night Football game, because the other game was a disaster. The Bills blew out the Jaguars. The Bills beat Jacksonville 47-10. I don't have any children, but if I did, I would be asking you guys how I should explain the Jaguars to my children, because I don't know how they can air that kind of thing on a Disney-owned property. I don't know if they should be offended. I don't know. Craig, do you think Bob Iger has anything to apologize for airing that on ESPN?
What platform should that be on? Is this like a HBO After Dark? Where does that belong?
Yeah, Skinamax. Yeah, exactly. I mean, so it's 47-10. I think that was the best first half the Bill I've seen from any team in a few years, and it's the best Josh Allen's ever played. Like, period.
And he's doing it with a bunch of guys, Khalil, Shakir, a bunch of randos. Dalton Kincaid had a touchdown. Lawrence looks so bad. And I can't tell. He's a little bit in the Justin Herbert camp for me, where it's like, I do still think he's good. And I'm pretty confident he's good. But man, it's like, he looks super gun shy out there, but it's also like, can you blame him? The scheme isn't doing anything for him. He's getting blown up. The O-line sucks. He's getting rocked every single game. So he looks timid out there. His weapons aren't very good. I don't know. While he's not playing well, I still have faith in Trevor Lawrence. And like Stephen Ruiz said on Bill's pod, when Belichick's coaching, I'll be back in.
Yeah, well, DK, so to the point, again, we don't need to elaborate. Like, obviously, Trevor Lawrence looked awful. All the Jaguars looked awful. And is this a coaching thing? Like, if the Jaguars fired Doug Peterson and they just hired Clint Kubiak from the Saints and they just did what they did to Derek Carr and just unplug him and plug him back in again.
Get Klein Kubiak in there.
Or Klein, yeah, let's get one of the Kubiaks. Whichever.
Call him up.
Clay,
Call the next guy up.
Yeah.
Clay, whichever. I don't know which one of those. But DK, is it like, we'll be talking a year from now, like, wow, Kubiak's fixed Lawrence? Or do you think we overrated Trevor Lawrence as a prospect?
Maybe a little bit of both. I do feel like it is a coaching. There's something to do with coaching because they are just so sloppy, and it doesn't feel like they're ever getting the people in the right place. Like the receivers don't ever seem to be running the right routes. And there's just penalties and drops and guys not getting their feet in bounds. It's like it's always something with the Jaguars. You know what I mean? Like every time you watch them, it's like so frustrating to watch for a multitude of reasons. Like I don't think you can say Trevor is blameless also. Like he's bringing his problems. Like he's fumbled a million times. He's turned over
his interception last night was one of the worst of the year.
I mean, like if you look at the number of times he's turned the ball over the last couple of years, it's pretty depressing. I'm with you, Craig. I'm still holding out hope that Trevor Lawrence will turn out to be really good, but like right now, it's just hard for me to say that he's good. Like just the situation around him is always so sloppy. And at some point it's like, man, you got to start playing well if we're gonna it's just kind of how I feel. No, I know that he has like all the traits that you want, and I still believe in him, but like, man, it's just ugly. Every week it feels like ugly.
100%. I'm very guilty of. You're right. You said instinct. My instinct is to make Lawrence blameless, and like my instinct very much. I'm extremely guilty of doing the. When Derek Carr messes up, I'm like Gordon Ramsay, and I'm like, what are you, an idiot sandwich? And then it's like when Trevor Lawrence throws an interception, I'm like, oh dear gorgeous, it's okay. And I think at this point, last night I realized that game and the Jaguars right now as a team are just as bad as the Jaguars were when the Jaguars were the Jaguars. Like when they were a laughing stock, really right up until they made that like AFC Championship game run. But they're just as bad as the Blake Bortles Jaguars, or worse. They're as bad as the freaking Blaine Gabbert Jaguars. And I think, until that changes, Trevor Lawrence he's in timeout. So yeah, he's an idiot.
So he's a sell low.
Yeah. Well, I will say, are the Jaguars so bad that they're actually a buy low just because everyone just watched them on Monday Night Football and now everyone's out?
I do think Brian Thomas is still like worth it to go after. I think he's so good. Every time he touches the ball, he's electric. And I mean, as a rookie, the fact that he just kind of came into this terrible team and this awful offense, and he's like still kind of producing a little bit, I feel like bodes really well for the second half of the year when rookie wide receivers usually take off.
Yeah, and everyone's free. I mean, everyone else is free. I mean, literally, someone tweeted us right before we went on the show, should I cut Trevor Lawrence for Andy Dalton, which really tells you the state of how people think about it. If you want any of the Jags, you can go get him. It's not going to cost you very much. No, but like, I mean, maybe. No. Of course not.
But maybe.
But like, it's a real kombucha girl moment.
Yeah, right, no, you shouldn't do that. But well, I don't know. Well, so, but yeah, we're gonna do power hour. We're gonna do buy low. So I'm not gonna lie, little pat ourselves on the back here. We gave out 13 buy low candidates last week. 12 of them had the best performance of the season. So that's the good news because we gave. I mean, some guys blew up like Amari Cooper. Chris Olave, Khalil Shakir, and Dalton Kincaid had big weeks. Jared Goff had a slow week, but Deontay Johnson blew up, was a top 5 receiver. Like a lot of the guys we've tossed out did really well. So that's good.
So for Mark Andrews, don't worry about that little guy.
Yeah, Mark Andrews. Kind of the one.
He's the egg in the dozen. It was cracked.
Yeah.
Just toss him. But so the good news is that did well. The bad news is all those guys aren't really buy lows anymore because they did really well. So the window's kind of, no one's trading them away. So we had to come up with like 12 new guys. And so I think where we landed is, to be totally like 100% honest. Last week we were kind of like, these guys are really good values. Mm-hmm. This week it's kind of just, these guys also are sucking, but we're not sure if it's good or bad. Like these guys also are playing. Yeah, we're gonna like some of these guys are buy lows, and some are sell lows. It's like advertising. You know what I mean? Half of it works. We don't know which. Half of these guys are going to be buy lows, but we're not sure which ones are going to be buy lows, and others will just suck, and we're going to figure out who's who. So we're going to go through, and again, we're going to do this power hour style. So for those who don't know, here's the way it works. DK and Craig sent me their guys that, frankly, could be buy lows or sell lows, like basically guys that are vexing, and I power rank them. So if you don't like the order, blame me. And I ordered them basically on how intriguing I found them. And you know what? Intriguing's vague. Some of them I found intriguing because I can't believe you're asking me about this person. Some of them are intriguing because the player is interesting. Some of them are intriguing because I'm positive they're a buy low, and I'll just let you know why I rank them. But I try to rank them in an order that's helpful.
Has anybody blamed you for the order before? You always say that.
I think I do it. I'm a harsh critic. I put it on
Okay.
myself. I blame myself for the order.
Right.
I don't know. People like to complain about rankings in writing form. I don't know if people. I guess when we started doing this, I thought people would blame people. Always argue about rankings, but no one's ever.
If we start tweeting out the list, then people will get upset. That's right.
We'll put it on the Instagram at Ringer Fantasy Football. Follow us at Ringer Fantasy Football on TikTok and Instagram, and also subscribe to this YouTube. We're doing this live on Tuesdays, 6:45 Eastern, which is a real time zone, 3:45 PT, and the fake time zone that DK and Craig live in.
That literally everyone else that's working on this is on. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
The majority of the company you work at.
Yeah,
Your
believe me,
boss,
I
Bill
know.
Simmons.
Yeah. It's okay. It's fine. Just 2/3 of people live in Eastern and Central. It's fine. But anyway, no, yeah. We're live on YouTube and the Ringer NFL YouTube. Please subscribe to that. And yeah, so we're doing this live on Tuesdays if you want to hear this early. And then obviously it's available if you're on YouTube. It's available everywhere else on Wednesdays. So we're gonna do this power hour style, and every 2 minutes you're gonna hear this song.
Great song.
Man, that's a good song.
I think the 2 seconds they play that every week
that's
is
good.
It's like the best part of my entire week every week.
You ever
is the 2
get?
seconds.
It's like so good you're angry. Damn it, that's good.
All right. Number one, buy low and or sell low guy after week 3. DK.
Yeah.
Best one I got all week. You sent me just Tyreek Hill for the Dolphins.
I feel like he is one of the biggest conundrums in fantasy, full stop, right now. I just do not know what is going to happen with Tua Tagovailoa, obviously. He's on IR right now. They did that after he suffered another concussion a couple weeks ago. I think the earliest he can come back is week 7. We don't know even for sure if he will come back this season at all. And so I think Tyreek Hill's value is 100% contingent on Tua coming back, or maybe not 100%, but like it's very, very important that Tua comes back for Tyreek Hill to be anywhere near what he has been over the last couple of years with Tua at quarterback. I actually looked it up with Skylar Thompson at quarterback. He has played, Tyreek has played in 5 games with Skylar Thompson at quarterback, more than 15 snaps, and he has averaged 4.7 points per game. He has not gone over 50 yards in any of those games. He has 0 touchdowns. Now, the team may go to Tyler Huntley or Tim Boyle, but it's still a massive upgrade. Still a massive downgrade, I should say, for both of those guys. And I don't know, man. Like where I lean right now is like if you can get anything for him, get out. Like especially if you get something good. Not anything, because I don't think you just give up on him completely. But if anyone is offering you a pretty good receiver right now, I think you jump at it.
Do you trust that Mike McDaniel could scheme up ways to keep Tyreek Hill relevant in the offense and then in turn in fantasy?
If he can't, then Mike McDaniel's in trouble.
Relevant is a relative term, of course. I think I think he can be relevant. I don't think he has even remotely the ceiling that he's had.
Relevant in that he's like the ball's always going over his head.
Yeah, I think he had a chance at 2,000 yards with Tua, and now it's like he better get to 1,000. Now he will. I think that Tyreek Hill's still going to get his yards. I think last week was particularly bad. I think Jalen Waddle is the guy that's really screwed. I think that the whole entire offense is going to run through just dump offs to Tyreek Hill and Etienne, and defenses are going to give Hill and Etienne those dump offs. But I think Waddle is the guy who's, I think, cooked.
Frankly. I think you got to just hunker down for winter with Tyreek Hill because you're going to have to sell him for real cheap.
Next up, buy low and or sell low, which we will figure out. Craig, you sent me Anthony Richardson, quarterback for the Colts. I thought this was a great one. And people are panicking. I think this is the number 1 panic player of the season so far.
I love this guy, man. He's an entertainer, really, at heart. He's, it's a mess, but it's always fun.
We all have friends like that.
Yeah. What's nice about him is I feel like I always get what he's trying to do. It's like I get it. like Jonah Hill and forgetting Sarah Marshall. Did you get it? I'm like, I get it. He's trying to keep the game alive, you know? He's going deep when everybody else is checking down. Maybe because he's physically incapable of completing a check down because they go 8 yards over his receiver's head. But yeah, it's a mess. He had 27 points in week 1. That was fun. Last week he had 12 points. This week he had 7 points, 3 touchdowns, 6 picks. They're not running him as much, which is a little bit of an issue. He's not like running a whole lot right now. I think he's a buy low because he's still like the most physically gifted guy in the league. And I'm just still betting on him getting his sea legs. This is like the 20th game he's played since high school.
Yeah.
I'm still betting long-term you want this guy in your team.
I'm pretty sure I don't have like a strong conviction on it, but I'm pretty sure I'm right there with you, Craig. I think the offense will get figured out. I think they'll start to get a little more rhythm. I think they'll start to figure out ways to utilize him in the ground game a little more. He has 9 design runs so far, so 3 a game. I think they're going to have to like start using him a little bit more on the ground, even though they're probably a little bit nervous about him getting hurt again. I mean, if you've seen what Jaden Daniels is like, the impact it creates on an offense, I think it's pretty dramatic. And I don't understand why they would not do that going forward. So maybe I'm just hopeful that that's going to happen, and his fantasy value will end up being at least somewhat reasonable for where we were getting him in drafts. But yeah, he's never going to be cheaper than he is right now, I don't think.
I think for that purpose, Richardson's the definition of a buy low. Again, there's an element of buy the dip, and there's a dip. That's why it's so they're selling it low, because there's something about this situation that makes you feel icky. And so if you're like, oh my God, he's been bad, do I want to trade for him? I'm like, that's the point. If he hadn't been bad, people wouldn't want to trade him away. And so this to me is again, we talked about him before the season as one of the players that could like explode. Last point of this, Justin Fields just last year was awful in September, and then was like a top 4 quarterback from like October on. I mean, I would go get Richardson while everyone's panicking.
A little side note, you know how we measure quarterbacks' hands, and like Kenny Pickett's hands were too small, Jared Goff, that's a problem. I wonder if Richardson's are too big. The ball, has anyone ever measured that?
It's like
hard to throw free throws.
The ball looks too small in his hand. It's like he's throwing like a dart. It's hard. It's hard to be accurate when you're throwing a tennis ball.
Isn't that why Shaq couldn't make free throws? The ball's too big for his hand, or the ball's too small?
Yeah, and then Kawhi Leonard figured it out. So maybe he should meet with Kawhi or something, but it just genuinely looks like he's like skipping rocks when he throws a football.
We got to get our top
good point
on that. Yeah. All right, next up on this note, TK, you also sent me Michael Pittman, receiver for the Colts, who I think is right here with Richardson of just intertwined.
This is like directly related, obviously. Right now, Michael Pittman is currently the wide receiver 79 on a wide receiver 6 target rate. He has a 29.4% target rate, which is elite. It's an elite number. That is exactly what you're looking for in terms of utilization not matching production. You know what I mean? He hasn't scored
targets
more than
are just sailing over his head like the pregame flyover.
Yes, but that I don't feel like that's going to continue nearly as dramatically as it has.
You know,
so
the kid at the beginning of Happy Gilmore in the batting cage who comes in after Happy and he's just taking balls in the chest. That's what it feels like Michael Pittman's doing every week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was used to like Matt Ryan's old ass and Sam Ellinger, and then Anthony Richardson comes on and he's like, damn, I need more pads.
So yeah, I mean, I think Steichen is going to figure things out a little bit. He's a good offensive coach. I think as the season goes on, they're going to iron out some of the wrinkles and, go back to the game where it was like some RPOs over the middle to kind of just get him warmed up. It's like doing free throws or layups for a basketball player to get you comfortable on those throws. And I mean, Pittman is going to be the #1 target in this offense. Josh Downs is coming back. He's going to get some of his own. But Pittman through the first 3 games, 30% first read target rate. So he is the guy that they're looking for more often than not. And I think he has talent. I don't think he's an elite player, but I think he's good enough to start capitalizing a lot more on the volume that he's getting. So I think this is just like, it's a little bit of a leap of faith, obviously, but that's what we're doing in the show. And I think if Richardson starts to improve as the season goes on, Pittman is going to be the big beneficiary here.
Again, passes the blurb test. 10 times easier to make a trade if the blurb is negative. His
bad.
Yahoo blurb ends with Pittman will have a hard time breaking out week 4 against the Steelers. Boom. So he's had 5-3 and 5 points, and then he won't be good in week 4 either. So someone's like, all right, I'm going to cut bait on this dude.
Yeah, maybe wait a week. Maybe wait 1 week.
No. You got to strike while it's hot.
I know,
then they
right?
play the Jags, and then you have to kill the hope. That's the key to all this. Kill the hope.
That's the key to life.
Yeah. speaking of killing hope, next up, Mark Andrews, tight end for the Ravens. Oh my God. So the last three we've been saying Tyreek, Richardson, Pittman are buy lows. Mark Andrews, I'll admit, we gave out 13 guys last week, 12 winners, and then Mark Andrews, who had, let's see here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 0 catches. Mark Andrews ranks 33rd among tight ends in points per game, 33rd. There's only 32 teams.
Dude, he's like a tight end 3 on any normal team in terms of the routes he's running. He ran 6 routes in week 3. 6. He ran 6 routes in week 3. Can I say that anymore? Like, that is absolutely ridiculous. That's fewer routes than people named Nate Atkins, Tanner Connor, Payne Durham, Drew Sample.
You should have done two people in a lie.
Payne Durham, Josiah DeGuara.
Those are creative
routes
players.
More than me. That's not that many.
Wait, who's the first person you named? Nate Atkins?
Nate Atkins. Who, again, it's like he's a tight end 3 on his own team. He's barely playing. He's barely getting out there and running routes. That's not going to be every week, obviously, but that sufficiently scared me off. I'm just like, I'm out.
I think with Andrews, we got Tony Pollard did it because he got the tightrope surgery, and I think we thought Andrews would be okay, and then Tony Pollard wasn't really himself till like mid-November. So in a way, I actually do think Andrews is a buy low because I think the people who have him are absolutely sick of. I think I know so. We already got an email about someone to cut him after week 1. It's week 3. He got 0 catches. I think people are going to cut him.
Man,
I think
people are rash, man. Cutting Mark Andrews after week 1.
What did I say last week about Men in Black? People, like, a person is smart. People are dumb, panicky animals. And I'm just saying, Mark Andrews is more a buy low. He's almost like someone who's on IR, like Hawkinson. I think of Mark Andrews as someone who might help your team in November and December. I don't think he'll be great for the next month, but which tight ends are going to be great in the next month anyway, to be honest? So I think that's the way I'd look at it. But no one's charging a lot for Mark Andrews. I think the people who have him are genuinely like it's one of the more stressful things happening in their entire lives.
Yeah, like he's a buy low in that you'll get him for literally nothing.
Yeah, I regret everything I said about Mark Andrews this offseason, other than he gives me the ick. Well, that's the only thing I don't regret.
You've been out on Mark Andrews every year of his career, and then this year you're like, oh man.
I went against my better judgment, and I was like, yeah, he's probably like a buy. I've probably been too mean to him, and now I'm just like, God, I should have went with my gut on this one. Anyway, yeah.
Speaking of which, on the tight end thing, Travis Kelce, tight end for the Chiefs. DK, you had this one. He's another. I mean, Kelce. Truly, I mean, he just doesn't look like himself.
No, he's the tight end 26 on the season, right behind Johnny Munt. Munt.
Munt cake. I love that guy.
He is, and that's like he's a little bit behind what he should be. He's the tight end 15 in expected fantasy points per game, according to fantasypoints.com. And that's right behind Zach Ertz, who you could have got in the very last round or on waivers probably. And you know what? Kelce was moving a little bit like Ertz lately. And by that, I mean, he catches it and then immediately falls down.
I mean, isn't Travis Kelce older than Zach Ertz?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I think Ertz has had worse.
Which feels kind of insane.
Yeah.
Zach Ertz is 33, Travis Kelce is 34. The difference 35 in 2 weeks.
Kelce, let's be real, has never been the same ever since I said over and over and over again last summer that he's never missed a game to injury in 10 years. And then he hasn't really been the same.
Kelce has 21 yards after the catch this year so far, total. 32nd among tight ends. He's just like a catch and fall down guy now. Well, it's hard to watch.
Also, his role has been market corrected by Rashee Rice. Rashee Rice is just like the guy who sits in zones and runs across the middle now.
I will say, obviously, again, I think for Kelce and Mark Andrews, it's the same thing in that they're not going to get back to the peak. Like, clearly we're there. But I do wonder if, like, 2 months from now, we're going to be like, they're going to be back to, like, 80% of what they were doing. I do think, frankly, teams playing the Chiefs, like, it's obvious that Rashee Rice is going to, like, number one, they don't want any big plays to Xavier Worthy to give up. And then they just don't want to I think that they're going to basically look at this and basically challenge Kelce to start beating them again at some point because he's been such a non-factor. And I do think part of it is they don't want to lose to Kelce, but I do think the calculus might shift back the other way and be like, actually, we're going to focus a little more on Rashee Rice and dare Kelce to do something in the regular season.
Yeah.
I do. Yeah. I think if I had to pick between Kelce and Andrews to buy low on, I'm buying low on Kelce.
Yeah. I think I agree.
But the difference is that Andrews is lower because Kelce's famous and also been better. And Andrews, I think is 2 weeks away from people releasing him.
I agree.
You could sell low on name value alone and probably get someone that would be a little more consistent.
Yeah. Wait, real quick. Craig, gun to your head. Is Kelce a sell low or a buy low?
Buy low.
And DK, you're saying sell low on name value? I actually kind of lean to DK.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
I'm
right.
just like not confident. I think Rashee Rice he's younger, more explosive, and he's doing the things that they used to do with Kelce more or less, like the over the middle stuff, crossing routes, run after the catch. Kelce's just not doing that. And it's not even like load management. He's playing he's ran around on 85% of the team's dropbacks, which is 5th among tight ends. It's not like they're not playing him. He's just not doing anything when he's playing. It's tough.
All right.
I love Kelce.
Apologies to Tom. Next up here, while we're in tight end alley, Craig, you had Sam LaPorta, tight end for the Lions. It's buy low or sell low?
We need to talk this out. This is speaking of guys who are playing but aren't doing anything while they're playing. Sam LaPorta's got 94 yards in 3 games. He was carted off with an ankle injury on Sunday and then came back.
Well, we got to talk about the cart. The cart's in training
easier
camp.
than walking.
Yeah, no. Well, guys in training camp get carted off, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, it's carted off at practice," and someone tweets it because they're not allowed to take a video. Meanwhile, they're getting carted off because it's training camp, and why would you make them walk?
Yeah.
I think Sam LaPorta was carted off because it was like 45 seconds left till halftime, and they were like, "Oh, we'll just drive him in."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, because he did come right back, and it's reported that he has like a low ankle sprain. So
yeah. As Denny Carter puts it, the lowest ankle sprain in history. It's the lowest ankle sprain you can imagine.
Do you think
Not
this
a
is
high
cart
ankle sprain.
arbitrage because you're gonna have like he was carted off in the blur, but he wasn't, and so you just buy the dip on the cart because it was a fake. It was a fake cart ride.
The cart. That's actually pretty good. Yeah.
Just take advantage of the cart.
That image will never leave your mind of him on the cart. Yeah.
Just
I'm
send
willing-
them pictures of the cart. Be like, I'm taking all the risk here.
You know, I'll take him off your hands. Yeah.
This guy was all caps,
pick him up.
carted off the field.
Carted.
Look, I'm willing to concede that perhaps Sam LaPorta is not a top 2 tight end in fantasy because I think the offense runs too much and is too good and has too many good players, and they spread the ball around a lot. A little bit like Kittle on the Niners, where LaPorta's probably going to have his days, but he's not going to be as consistent. And the touchdown regression, I think everybody saw coming. And also right now, the reason why I think he might be a buy low is just that like the Lions aren't passing the ball well right now at all.
Yes.
Goff has 3 touchdowns and 6 picks through 3 games.
Craig.
And so I'm like,
yes.
you know, Goff threw 30 touchdowns last year and almost led the league in passing.
This is my half-baked theory and thesis on why Sam LaPorta is a buy low. I feel like this is definitely much more of a theory than really I feel strongly about this, but the way that Jared Goff is playing right now and struggling, I think a guy like Sam LaPorta is the perfect solution for a guy who's been really bad in clean pockets, like he's been really struggling against the pressure or whatever. Get a guy like LaPorta in short and intermediate areas and start to give him like some confidence back and get that mojo back that he had last year. So that's my theory and that's my hope is that like they're gonna get LaPorta more involved because Goff has been so like struggling so much.
I totally agree. If LaPorta's on an 0-3 team or a 1-2 team in your league, I would target like him over Kelce and Najee for sure. I totally agree. LaPorta's
Goff's been terrible in the red zone.
Yeah. All right. Apologies to Tom again. All right. We're going to apologize to Tom one more time.
Sorry,
I'll
Tom.
see if I can do
Sorry,
this in 2
Tom.
minutes.
Thomas.
Sorry, Tommy.
Apologize to the baby.
Next
Sorry,
up.
baby.
All right. This one to me, this is not a question. This is a buy low, but it's a real, I think this is my favorite buy low on the board. It's the Green Bay Packers. All of them. All the Green Bay Packers I think are buy lows. Jordan Love's coming back. And I think people know Jordan Love's coming back, but it's hard to explain. Like Malik Willis passed for 200 yards last week. Jordan Love beat that number like 15 times just last year. Like it's hard to explain how much better this offense will get. And so Romeo Doubs is a receiver. Frankly, he's probably on waivers in your league.
Yeah.
Like I would add Romeo Doubs. He's Jordan Love's favorite target, and I that's an easy add. Tucker Kraft, the tight end for the Packers. I would add Tucker Kraft because like there are very few tight ends left on waivers that I think could like fix your god awful tight end position the rest of the season. Tucker Kraft is the Packers starting tight end, and I think that Jordan Love coming back could fix him. I would add those guys. They're not even buy loads. They're just ads for waivers. Christian Watson, Craig waxed poetic all summer about how Christian Watson's a buy low. Well, he's lower now, and it's not his fault. It's because of Malik Willis. But most importantly, Josh Jacobs is my favorite buy low. He has been good. I think Josh Jacobs will be great going forward. He just hasn't scored any touchdowns, and I think I don't think the people have him think he could go nuclear, but I think Josh Jacobs is great. But any of the Packers, anybody who has an 0-3 or 1-2 in your league, I'd knock on the door and ask about the guys in Green Bay.
I think Watson is the clearest definition of a buy low because I think in order to pull this trade off, look, everybody knows Jordan Love's coming back, and that a lot of people who have Packers are just like hunkering down and waiting for Love to come back. So, like, Jaden Reed's the hardest one, in my opinion, to trade for because he had a good game with Jordan Love. Watson, in my opinion, is easier because he didn't really have a good game with Jordan Love. He had 1 catch for a touchdown. So I think that makes sense. Jacobs, I think, is a little bit harder. I mean, Jacobs had 150 rushing yards last week. He led the league. I don't know how many people are willing to sell Josh Jacobs after him leading the league in rushing in week 2, and then Jordan Love's coming back in week 4. You might have to give up a decent amount.
Yeah, I would though. And again, I think that a lot of it, what it comes down to is it's less like go get Josh Jacobs for sure. It's more like if Josh Jacobs is on an 0-3 team, if Josh Jacobs is on a 1-2 team, like those are the teams trying to shake it up. And again, you look and you're like, oh, should I give this guy up? And they say, again, most people just look and see 11, 13, 5. And they're like, oh, well, that's not going well. But yeah, Watson, I also think, I mean, I know people in a work league who Christian Watson got cut. Like Watson, I agree with Greg, is the guy. Okay. Next up, speaking of your guys from over the summer, Craig, Mike Evans, receiver for the Bucks.
Mike Evans is the perfect buy low, I think, right now. He's the perfect archetype. Player who's still good offense. He's had 2 bad games in a row. Godwin is exploding. I'm sure most people are thinking, is it over for Evans? Has Godwin taken over? And it looks like it. Last week he had 2 points. It was his worst game in 7 games. And I think the majority of that can be attributed to the fact that he was basically shadowed by Patrick Surtain on Denver, who over the course of 3 games has shut down DK Metcalf, George Pickens, and Mike Evans.
Mm-hmm.
Those 3 guys have totaled 75 yards the last 3 weeks because of Patrick Surtain. So I'm kind of like, look, Evans still has it. I think this offense is good. Scott Barrett at Fantasy Points has a stat called average separation score, which he calls ASS. And
Good
it's basically
branding.
like
Good branding.
great branding. It's like how good are guys at separating? Are they still good? Can they separate and get open? Mike Evans is 3rd in the NFL in average separation right now. 3rd in ass.
He's still got it.
He does still got it.
He's got the ass.
So if anybody is like, you know what, Mike Evans, 5 points, 2 points, I'm good. This is Godwin's team now. I would pounce.
I'm with you. I think this
is
is like
Mike Evans' ass.
I do. My whole thesis on Chris Godwin coming into the season was that the pendulum was going to swing from Mike Evans over to Godwin a little bit, and it would like even out. But the pendulum has swung all the way over to Godwin. He's like literally, he's like the third. He's like the wide receiver 3 or something like that right now. And so I don't think that's going to continue all season. I think it'll even out. We'll see more regression towards just like a balance between the two. And so yeah, I think Mike Evans is a brilliant buy low right now. People are probably a little bit frustrated by him. 9.5 points per game. You know, I think he'll get he's the magic that we saw from him in Mayfield last year. I don't think was like a fluke. We'll start to see a little bit more of that going forward.
Yeah, 2 touchdowns week 1. 5 seconds left for Tom. What are we going to talk about?
We got to fill some dead air here.
You guys going to see Megalopolis this weekend? I hear it's good.
Heifetz just goes ass. I panicked.
Next up, Brandon Aiyuk, receiver for the 49ers. This is mine. I think Brandon Aiyuk is my favorite buy low right now, left. Brandon Aiyuk.
Everyone's frustrated with him right now, even 49ers fans, right?
I think
Craig?
everyone, no one likes Brandon Aiyuk. It's the everyone hates Chris.
It's fun. Yeah, like the second Debo and Kittle are out, they're like, finally, Aiyuk, he's warm now. He sucked the first 2 weeks, dropping passes left and right. Jauan Jennings.
If you get a huge contract and then you suck, everyone's just out to get you. But like Brandon Aiyuk,
that's fair. That's actually very fair.
Well, you missed all training camp, and you know what? Brandon Aiyuk looks like someone who missed all of freaking training camp because he has, you know what I mean? Like he didn't. Because here's the thing: week 1 and 2 is so rusty. The timing was off. Like he didn't look very good. He wasn't. You know, he looked like someone who hadn't practiced in a month. And then Christian McCaffrey's out, George Kittle's out, Debo's out. All right, this is the Brandon Aiyuk week last week, and then Jauan Jennings has 45 points, and Jauan Jennings is out here scoring all the points for the Niners, and then Aiyuk didn't do anything. He dropped like a few passes. Purdy didn't hit him on a huge deep ball. Like Aiyuk should have had 150 yards in this game. But instead, Brandon Aiyuk has fewer points per game this season than Tutu Atwell and Ray McLeod.
Ah, God. I hate those stats.
Aiyuk, best ass in the league right now.
Yeah, no, but also, yeah, but that's that. The point is, Ayuk's playing fine. The problem's just timing rhythm. It'll be okay. Like anyone who hasn't is probably frustrated.
Catching has been hard.
Catching's been hard, but like he'll get over it. And I think Aiyuk has some really he'll get over it.
He'll get over it.
He'll figure it out.
This is one of those. This is like a perfect bet on talent situation, I think. And obviously the offense is very good too. Brock Purdy looked awesome in that last game, so I'm not fearful that he'll fall off with all the stars kind of injured right now on San Francisco. So yeah, this one is, I think, really smart as well. He's really underplayed his expectation in terms of fantasy points, like expected fantasy points. He's 6 points under on average. So that's a massive disparity. It's going to even out. He'll probably end up scoring more points than expected as the season goes along.
You could trade for him and Mike Evans right now, change your whole season around.
There you go.
Boom.
Tom. Bang.
Ass.
Next up, Tee Higgins, receiver for the Bengals, DK.
Oh.
Yeah, so I love Tee Higgins. This is another bet on talent. He missed a lot of training camp, missed a couple games, had a hamstring injury. People thought it was more related to a contract, but it doesn't sound like that was actually the case. But if people are kind of getting impatient with him, especially if they didn't watch the Monday night game where they just look at the box score, Chase scored almost 30 points in PPR. Yossi was 16.5 points. And then there's Higgins there with like 7 points in PPR. If people are kind of getting frustrated with that, you might be able to exploit that because Higgins should have had a much bigger game. According to expected fantasy points from fantasypoints.com, is almost 15 fantasy points in that game. He barely missed on a couple big plays down the field. He caught one with his like one-handed, like a 30-something yard pass from Joe Burrow one-handed. He was just barely out of bounds. He got there was a DPI on a 2-point conversion that should have been called but wasn't. And he missed on a couple of plays in the end zone. So
Tee Higgins is like the George Pickens' older brother in that he also could have a YouTube compilation where he'd make the Hall of Fame of just catches that didn't count. Like if a football field was 54 yards wide, Tee Higgins would have had 200 yards last night.
Yeah, I thought he looked good. Like he didn't look rusty to me. It was just kind of bad luck that he didn't have a big game. And I think crucially, the Bengals offenses looked pretty good. Joe Burrow really feels like the wrist isn't affecting him too much. He's slinging it. He had a couple big throws down the field. The offense's success rate has been really, really strong. I think better days are coming for the Bengals offense, and I think right now is the time to buy Higgins when people might be frustrated with him.
You think people are willing to shop him after one game?
Again, I think especially if they didn't like watch the game closely, that could be where you can take advantage. If they're aware of all these advanced stats, they're probably not going to give up on him right now. But I mean, 6.9 points after sitting him the first couple of weeks, it's just like people might be willing to get out.
Craig brings up a good point about context with buying. I think that will people give up on someone? And I think Tee Higgins is the perfect example to me of, did they want to draft him or did they like auto draft him? Sometimes people take a player and they're like, oh, I didn't even really want him. And I feel like Tee Higgins is like, almost like an Amari Cooper, something about the receivers in Orange and Ohio, but check in on the, people are like, oh, I knew I should have taken Tee Higgins this year. All right. Next up, we have Craig. You sent in the Steelers, period. George Pickens, Najee, just Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I think with Najee, I like him kind of in the immediate future, and I think Pickens is a more like season-long play. Najee has the fourth biggest gap between fantasy points he's actually scored and the expected fantasy points he basically should have scored. He's 6th in the league right now in carries, and he's 32nd in points. He's got 0 touchdowns. And they haven't gotten in the end zone a lot, Pitt, but the next 3 weeks, they're playing the Colts, the Cowboys, and the Raiders, which are 3 of the 5 worst run defenses in the league.
Ooh.
Jalen Warren has been banged up all year. Tomlin basically pulled him from the game because of a knee injury last week.
Warren's week to week now.
Right. And Najee hurt his arm. His arm was in a sling after the game, but Tomlin said he's good to go for this week. So I just think like you're getting a guy who's getting 20 carries a game, and they're running the shit out of the ball. Pickens, I think, is more long-term. When they start to have to throw a little bit more. All of these games have been such slogs. They played week 1, hobbled Kirk. They played rookie Bo Nix in his second game, and they played a hobbled Herbert. So like they really haven't had to do much, especially in the second half. And Pickens is still getting the majority of the work in Pittsburgh. He's getting 25% of the team's targets, which is 16th best in the NFL. So I just think kind of both these guys are a little bit in the buy low category.
I have 3 thoughts on that. 1, hobbled Herbert is what Trump would call Herbert if he didn't like him.
Herbert.
That's a really funny nickname. 2, I totally agree with this. Najee's a good buy low. And then 3, you are a medical expert who pioneered the belief that a player leaving in a game in a boot is actually a good thing.
Yeah.
Do you think a running back leaving in a sling, is that actually a good sign?
No. I'm going to say no.
No?
But look, he'll just lean with the other shoulder forward. It'll be fine.
That's why you got 2 hands.
Come on. I think it'll be fine. Najee's the most boring running back in the league. It's like him, Zach Charbonnet. Who else? James Conner maybe, but
Algier.
If he plays Algier. But I think good times are ahead. I don't know. I feel lukewarm about that because I think there's a chance that every Steelers game is like 16-10. But I do think there is like a bit of opportunity to move on.
Hobbled Herbert.
Hobbled Herbert.
All right. Last year, this is just repeats from last week, but I think the guys who we talked about last week that were better, but we still are by lows, are just Tank Dell and Courtland Sutton. It's just Tank Dell. I just still think he's a little banged up too. I think he's a great blurb test candidate because if anyone who clicks on his blurb, it's going to be like, oh, wrist injury and whatever. I think Tank Dell's going to be fine. And again, the Texans just had a nightmare game last week against the Vikings. It's just the worst. No one's rocked the Texans like that since CJ Stroud became Stroud. Tank Dell still is like has the mind meld with CJ Stroud. It's going to work. Like I still think anyone who has Tank Dell is probably a little nervous. They're like, fuck, why did I take Tank Dell with the 54th pick when they had Stephon Diggs and Nico Collins? What was I thinking? And the other guy's just Courtland Sutton for the Broncos. And like Bo Nix played better and Courtland Sutton had a better game, but he doesn't have any touchdowns. And so again, PFF has expected fantasy points. No, there's no player in fantasy that has a larger gap in how many touchdowns they were expected to score and have actually scored, which is 0 than Courtland Sutton. I don't even like Courtland Sutton. I just feel like a fiduciary responsibility to share that Courtland Sutton's a good buy low. I don't even like the guy.
He likes
I like the guy. I don't like
share
him
that.
player.
Legally speaking, he has to share that every time.
Yeah.
Do you?
I don't even like him.
I don't.
Does it feel as though we have learned nothing after the Tony Pollard broken leg if we're just back in on Tank Dell the first year after he broke his leg?
Possibly. But like the timeline mattered. My issue with Tony Pollard was always that he broke his leg in like January 25th.
Dell, what, mid-season?
Yeah.
Craig, when have we ever learned anything?
I'm just saying, there's going to be a little bit of post-nut clarity on Tank Dell if he has a bad season. We're going to be like, well, he did break his leg.
This is good. What have we learned?
I don't know.
Do this for like 5 years. Have we learned anything?
You have to get back to me on that.
I learned how to pronounce maestro.
I learned how much a cloud weighs.
I don't truly believe it still, but I also learned that.
Honestly, the number one thing I've learned from doing this spot, like not even close, the number one thing I've learned is that it's Sonny and Cher.
Yeah.
I can't believe thought it was Sonny.
Sonny and Cher. That's the Sonny and
there are flat earthers. DK and I are weightless clouders.
Craig,
I don't know.
I literally almost said I'm gonna put together a documentary if we're gonna try and find some funding to prove to the world that clouds don't actually weigh 1 million pounds. There's no way that's true. I don't understand how that could be possible.
Well, they're made of water and they're big.
A billion pounds.
They're floating.
Don't get it.
It's water. But like, does rain have weight?
I don't know. You know what? I never learned that.
Rain's
part.
falling. I don't get it.
But if water's on the ground, that weighs something, right?
Yeah.
Sure.
So the cloud
and the
rain.
water droplets get heavy enough and big enough to fall out of the cloud.
Yeah, but the cloud was the rain.
I know. Look, I get it in theory. Still not. Look, I'm sure flat earthers understand what the others are trying to say, but I refuse to believe it.
Craig, what's our agenda? Why do we care? It doesn't matter. We just want to prove that it's false.
I don't want to feel like when I'm in an airplane, I'm flying into a 1 billion pound object.
Is the cloud an object?
What is it? Whatever.
If it weighs 1 billion pounds, it's an object.
It's an object if it weighs 1 billion pounds.
Yeah.
But objects but it's a gas. A gas can't be an object.
Is Jupiter an object?
Yeah, that's a solid.
Isn't it a gaseous planet?
Oh, I think that's Venus. No, but
gaseous,
Venus has a gaseous
gaseous. I don't know how to say that word.
Venus gaseous?
I said Jupiter. I meant to say Jupiter.
It says that the
you said Jupiter. I think you meant Venus.
No. I think Jupiter is a gaseous
Jupiter is
planet.
a gas? The whole thing?
It's a gas giant.
Right. Get out of here.
Craig, look it up.
Or is anyone in the YouTube comments who could answer this? Wait, so
what?
You're
it is a gas
Jupiter's
giant.
Planet is.
What does that mean?
Gaseous.
I don't know, man.
Jupiter is a gas giant.
The four
composed
gas
mostly
giants:
of helium?
Neptune, yeah, Neptune, Uranus, Saturn, and Jupiter.
Gas giants near to the stars are often called hot Jupiters. Oh wow!
But are they just covered with gas? They're not entirely gas.
I'm on the NASA
I think
website.
they're all gas.
No,
Get out of here.
100%.
We sent
I don't think
sent the
so.
thing. We landed Cassini on Saturn. We sent something to Jupiter.
I don't think they're entirely gas.
Email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com too. Email us if you know what the hell's going on with Jupiter.
You can fly right through it, Craig.
Is a cloud an object? That's what I'm still.
Email us at
fixated on.
ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com about Jupiter, and also send us some trivia questions about Jupiter. And then also someone in the YouTube chat
Cassini landed on Titan.
Clouds are weightless but not.
That was a moon.
massless.
Yeah, that was a moon.
Yeah.
Oh, Titan, a moon of Saturn. That's like the best Ringer article that ever ran. If anyone wants to Google the Ringer, Ben Lindbergh did a story on. You can Google the Ringer Cassini Ben Lindbergh, and like it's just everyone who worked on the Cassini mission, and everyone picks one photo from they took like 100,000 photos, and everyone picks their favorite one and explains why. It's amazing.
So the definition of an object is a material thing that can be seen and touched. Can you touch a cloud?
So someone in the chat just said
object.
Jake just said in the clouds are weightless but not massless. But doesn't mass have weight? Isn't that like the definition of mass?
Probably not. Probably not, since clouds.
Richter, who's running this live, John
Yeah.
Richter, who's running this live stream for us, says gas giants have a solid core, but they're made up of super dense, soupy gases ish.
So it is solid. Okay.
We're gonna have to get to the bottom of this.
Let's figure this out.
Okay.
What?
All right. We'll have to circle back. Email
it's weightless, but it's not massless.
There's so many ghosts right now screaming.
We clearly don't understand like physics.
There's
at all.
protons and neutrons in the cloud.
I think I was
weightless.
like doing fantasy football prep during this part of physics class. All right. Email us at rigorfantasyfootball@gmail.com if you can answer any of our questions about Jupiter or clouds, please, including all the clouds on Jupiter. Also, send
Tell us all about Jupiter.
Yeah.
Please.
Also, send us trivia questions about Jupiter, and also that storm that's been going on Jupiter for like 1,000 years or whatever. That thing's crazy. Anyway, all right, let's do some fantasy court.
Let's do it.
All right. Fantasy court's in session. I do want to just do a quick follow-up on one we had last week that was very engaging, where we basically, someone got drunk and dropped Amon-Ra St. Brown and Marvin Harrison Jr., and the commissioner basically was like, you can have Amon-Ra back, but Marvin Harrison Jr. is going to waivers, and like split the baby. And we basically punted to the lower court. We're like, you know what? Hard situation. Respect the commissioner for like making a tough decision. A lot of people really weighed in on this. A lot. And a lot of people trying to control the balance of the league. I want to shout out Sean.
Sean
just threw out a novel decision we had not thought of. And Sean said, I would like to submit a ruling from a lower court. I believe the commissioner's decision to refund Amon-Ra to the stupid owner is fair. But he believes Marvin Harrison Jr. should have just been left on waivers.
Taken out of the running to be picked up.
Sean's saying Marvin Harrison Jr. on waivers going to another team creates an unnatural shift in power. He says instead, Marvin Harrison Jr. should be banned from the league, not acquirable by any team, live out his days in free agency. Basically sent to the wall like Game of Thrones.
Sent to Elba, like Napoleon.
I think that's really funny.
I don't hate that. I still don't like the commissioner just giving him back Amon-Ra St. Brown and not like, well, how did he decide that?
Maybe the commissioner also was like, I might get drunk one day and make a mistake. And like, can't set the card of precedent. But anyway, I like the idea of just Marvin Harrison Jr. going to
I
the
do
wall.
too. That's fun.
The lesson here is don't drink and drop.
Yeah.
That's the lesson.
All right. This one's from Mitch.
Mitchell.
I'm the commissioner of a 14-man league. We had an interesting situation this week. A guy was up half a point on his opponent. Only person left in the matchup was the Jaguars defense. Jags D is on the team of the guy who's up half a point. Fantasy manager's phone broke on Friday. Unable to make a decision on whether to keep the Jags in. Text at the end of the Bills-Jags game that he would have liked to take out the defense, guaranteeing a win. The league is 50-50 split on this, on what to do. I'm at the mercy of the trio of the fantasy court to help me out. What do I do?
Wait. His phone broke on Friday?
Yeah, I'm kind of like, I can't believe the league is split on this. This is the easiest thing ever. He lost and was like, I would have liked to win, please. I'm like, forget that. You had 3 days. Send a fucking carrier pigeon.
Yeah, wait, what? I don't...
I wanted to ask you, I thought this was easy, but I couldn't believe the league was split on this. So I'm not crazy, right? This is insane. He lost and then he wants to change his lineup.
Was he like camping and only had his phone and his phone broke on Friday and he had no form of communication, or was he just like at his house?
I know. I'm like, go to your computer, send an email.
Go to the public library.
Get a friend to do it. I don't know. Figure it out.
Go to the post office. Anyway, no, it's the guy
is cut and dry.
I actually think
who are these league mates that are voting that he gets the
dude, that's what I'm saying. Everybody's getting way too soft these days.
Dude, yeah.
Craig, tough on crime.
All right. Well, tough on crime, Craig. All right, this one's from Andy.
Andrew.
Andy.
This isn't a court case. This is more he's approached our office, our chambers.
Oh, okay.
Andy says, I need a fantasy lawyer right now.
Okay, well, we're judges, but okay.
My league allows for 2 keepers each season, and we also have 1 IR spot. I have completely forgot that keepers are not allowed to go in the IR spot. But I've had my keepers there for weeks 2 and 3, and we are also not allowed to drop keepers. And so if we decide to keep someone, we have them the entire season. Andy writes, nobody's caught me yet. Nobody's caught me. I already played the commissioner last week. He didn't notice. So it's possible I don't get caught at all until I play the tattletale of the league in week 11. And I like having the extra roster space for the guy that I'm not supposed to drop. We don't have any sort of written punishment for violating this rule. Should I just stay the course with my keeper on IR? Should I quietly take him off IR and drop someone else? And if I get caught, do I play dumb?
So it's like, do I return the wallet that I just found with $300 in it? Keep the money and return the wallet.
Look, we don't know your reputation within the league, Andy, but if you think it's plausible that you could play dumb and people would believe it, I think I would do that.
Yes.
But if you're
you ain't trying.
But if you're like one of the founders of the league, or you're big into fantasy and everyone, if you're very involved every year, this might be less believable. But if this is like a classic Andy move to forget a rule of the league, I think you 100% just ride this out and pretend.
Why is there no keepers on IR? Why can't that be a thing?
I mean, it's like a sign. It's like there's always something happened. It's like you see a sign, something happened, And it's like if there's a rule like that that's that specific, then some shit happened that someone took advantage.
The commissioner didn't even notice.
You know what I mean? It's like, no, don't touch this paint. It's like someone fucking touched the paint. Like that's why the sign went there.
I mean, I guess the commissioner not noticing. I mean, how often are you like parsing through your opponent's bench?
Yeah.
I like the two. Every league does have a tattletale. I like the idea that like he's like, I play the freaking, Bill in week 11 and like Bill's gonna rat me out. Like I think that's just funny. I mean the ignorance works.
This is a gray area. This is definitely a gray area.
He probably shouldn't have like written this into a podcast that's gonna record this for all time.
With millions of listeners.
Millions.
1 million. Yeah.
I know, like
millions and millions.
He must have been pretty confident that no one in his league listens to our show.
Yeah, he's like, oh, they'll do it on, they'll do it on this freaking fantasy show. No one's gonna check this thing. All right.
Yeah, play dumb.
Well, no,
I mean, if we're
not a
lawyers,
retainer. We can't advise him to do that because he's not a client.
100%.
So
we're lawyers in this situation, not judges. So as your lawyer,
we can't advise you to do anything.
Yeah,
illegal.
Definitely don't tell anyone about this thing that you're doing.
You should not have put this in writing.
No, dude, the best
they
line
will read your email in Discovery.
The best line in the entire The Wire, the show, is just the head of the crime syndicate turns to his assistant. He's like, "Are you taking notes on a criminal fucking conspiracy? Like, give me that shit." It's like, oh my god. All right, the last one's from Andy. This one's from Andrew.
All right,
Andy.
Drew.
Are you taking notes on a criminal conspiracy? All right. Sorry. Andrew, our fantasy league punishment was the person who came in last and the person who came in second to last were handcuffed to each other in public for 12 hours.
That's awesome.
It's incredible.
Do they have to dress like they just escaped jail or prison or whatever?
Oh,
Also,
that could
like,
lead to bad.
Tough beat for the guy who got second to last. That's
well, that's what the email's about. Because he said this year we're running it back, but we have controversy. Basically, the guy who came in second to last came in like 6th or something, or 7th, and like almost made the playoffs, barely missed out, and then his team missed 1 week, ends up in the last place game, but then it doesn't matter. You already do it. So he's like, I almost made the playoffs, and now I'm handcuffed to someone for 12 hours. It's ridiculous. So they have the question, should the two people be the dead last matchup, both of them, dead last regular season or combination? We need your guys' thoughts. Also, we need more ideas for the two losers to do in public with the official handcuffs.
Wait, so they're asking how they should decide who is last place?
Because of what you just said. But I think the answer is easy. Whoever comes in last place in the regular season, the 10th place person in the regular season, is locked into the handcuffs, so to speak. And then whoever loses the toilet bowl is locked into the handcuffs, so to speak. And if it's the same person, then they're just handcuffed to themselves.
Yeah, they literally have to handcuff themselves for 12 hours.
I think that's it. Because I agree that like if you almost miss the playoffs, the idea that like you should be doing a punishment is insane.
I know. Wait, so is the toilet bowl like the playoff losers bracket? Is that
like the same week as the finals, like the same week as like the championships going on, whatever that matchup is of the worst place teams.
I agree. I'm a big fan of the losers bracket so that they have something to play for in the playoffs.
Right.
Where like if you win, you're out, and if you lose, you advance. I think that's great.
It really worked. The reason punishments aren't just dumb to be like, go to a Waffle House. It's like the actual utility of it is when you're at the trade deadline and like someone's like, I'm not going to win this year. And they're like, hey, can I have, Brandon Aiyuk for like, my kicker? And then they're like, I don't really want to be handcuffed. They said we took the handcuff guys to the sandbar on the 4th of July and then to the busiest restaurant in town. And then you're like, maybe I don't want to give you Brandon Aiyuk.
I mean, yeah, I think my vote would be like you have to play it all the way through the end of the season and to give the people a reason to compete at the end of the season, right?
Just 2 spots. That's good.
When I was a kid, my dad is a retired police officer, and when I was a kid, I went into his nightstand and I handcuffed. I think I was maybe 8. I handcuffed myself to his nightstand while he was at work. And the key was not in the nightstand. It was on his person or in his car or something. So I was
Why
super late to
why are the
school.
handcuffs in the nightstand, Greg?
I don't know.
They were police handcuffs?
How dare you suggest anything like that about my
Did
father?
they have like fuzz on them? Were they
No.
Okay. Sorry. Okay,
What
continue.
a despicable thing to say.
Sorry, everyone was thinking it.
I was like, Mom, these are pink. Why
I
are
was
these
also
pink?
These are pink.
I was also thinking it.
These don't hurt. I thought they were supposed to hurt.
Luxurious. Wait, so how long were you handcuffed to the nightstand?
Multiple hours.
Did you have a cell phone?
I was like 8.
No,
So
you
no.
don't have a cell phone.
So no, but my mom was home because she was supposed to take me to school, and she's like, Craig, are you ready to go to school? And I was like, not exactly.
This
And
is
so
classic.
My
Not
dad worked like an
exactly.
hour away. My dad worked in Alameda. I lived in San Ramon, which is like an hour drive. So he literally had to drive home and unlock me.
Are you ready to go? Not exactly. That's a good answer.
Yeah.
God, that's good.
That's actually email us at ringerfantasyfootball@gmail.com. I don't know what I want out of that, but I want something.
Tell us handcuff
Something,
stories.
whatever. Yeah, something. I don't know what I want there, but I want something. All right.
I've never considered why the handcuffs were in the nightstand.
Oh, sorry.
Oh no. Let the boy watch. I've been playing the music. Play us off.
Yes.
All right. Oh
my god, that's so funny.
All right, couple emails before we get out of here.
Yeah.
Do we have any assistant emails? I was really hoping we had some good ones. Okay, good.
We do. I want to. Yeah. Okay. Real quick, I want to shout out Connor.
Kanban.
We talked about the Battle of the Bulge on Monday's show with trivia, and Connor wanted to history buff shouted us out.
Sweet.
The Battle of the Bulge is the one depicted in the episode in the Band of Brothers toward the end. That's the one that we always joke about. Josh
Lieutenant
Allen running through
Spears.
the town. That's
Yes.
the Battle of the Bulge. Like that's what they're doing. So
Yeah. I think
incredible.
Was that in like Foy? I think it was in
yeah,
Foy.
Foy. And that's where the astounding thing was he came back. Yeah, that's
That's
right.
awesome.
Yeah.
I didn't realize that.
We did get some assistant emails. I want insane boss emails. This one's from Travis.
Travi.
Oh, my voice just cracked. Trav.
Just rattled from the nightstand thing.
It's still shook. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just shook.
I got to call my mom after this.
We got a lot to unpack here.
Travis says, my boss, again, we asked for stories about crazy bosses. Travis says, my boss for my summer internship this year, I think Travis is young. My boss for my summer internship this year was basically Saul Goodman. He was always plotting these nefarious schemes and roping me into them.
Oh my God.
One of these
That's
schemes
great.
was hatched when he was facing complaints from the HOA of the community surrounding his house. My boss did not sell his land to the development company, so they just built around his house like an up.
Oh, wow.
So funny. So to get the HOA off his back, he wanted me to go bury a bag of fake human bones in his backyard.
Oh my God, dude. No.
And he wanted
Do not
me to,
do that.
and he wanted me to take pictures of me digging up these fake bones that I planted in
Holy
university
shit.
lab coats and to make it look like an official dig. Because in Washington State, if you find
like a burial ground thing.
yes,
Yeah.
like a burial ground, because if you find indigenous bones that are unearthed, the entire surrounding area may also be dug up in search for more bones or artifacts. So my boss's plan was to use the pictures of me digging up the fake indigenous bones to threaten the HOA to leave him alone, or else he would have people dug up everyone else's backyard. And for all of this, to commit multiple crimes, my boss offered me $50.
I was going to say, is this guy's probably working for free too? He's probably not even getting
Yeah.
paid at this internship.
He offered him an
$50.
internship in cash. He's like, I'll give you $50 extra to bury fake bones and pretend you found a Native American burial ground.
Oh, that's hilarious.
I don't know, Mr. Kraken. This doesn't feel real legal.
I do get it though. I could see Saul Goodman doing that. Like I see
100%.
how he's like, Saul, that is a Saul Goodman ass plan.
Where did he buy the fake human bones?
I don't think he did it.
Craig, he didn't buy them.
He quit the job.
No, I'm saying like where did Saul Goodman want him to get the fake human bones?
Okay, I was actually wondering that because I'm
Like
imagining
a
of like
skeleton you get
yeah,
at like a
Halloween,
Halloween.
yeah, like spirit Halloween, like a spirit Halloween, just buying bones and just being, hey, look what I found.
Dude,
Also,
I
if
was
you
at
like dig them up and you take photos of yourselves with these bones, wouldn't people want to maybe follow up and look at the bones?
you have like
You'd be
additional
oh,
questions.
I threw them all away.
Why are you taking pictures of someone digging up bones? I was at Lowe's the other day, and there's like you can buy these giant like 50-foot skeletons for like Halloween decorations.
Dude, yeah,
And
my Ace Hardware has those too. Like it's
crazy.
It's like a huge, yeah.
Why are you guys going to
So-
Ace Hardware and Lowe's so much?
Because
What are
I'm
you doing?
fucking old.
What are you doing at Ace? What are you getting?
Okay, you want an actual
house
reason?
house projects, buddy.
Yeah, so we were at Trader Joe's a couple days ago, and Jackie saw this little pot of potted pepper plants, like mini peppers. Jackie thought it was really
Aw.
cute, so we got it. She was like, "Can I have it?" I was like, "Yeah, we got it." So we got it, and then Jackie comes up and said she read on
Flex.
Reddit that
So
actually
I
you
bought
need
it
to-
for her. No big
Yeah,
deal.
you need yeah, it's just flex, but you need to repot it really quickly. So she asked me to go get potting soil this morning to save these baby peppers we got from Trader Joe's. That's why I was.
Have you ever felt like dumber than when you go into a hardware store and you're like, I don't know where the fuck anything is here. I don't want to
yeah.
ask. I'll search around this store for 2 hours without asking someone.
Yeah, yeah. And then
Can I help you with
decide-
anything? Nope, just
I'm good.
browsing.
I know
Oh,
exactly where I'm going.
I know where everything is.
I just came here to look around.
Then you try and like explain what something is to to people that work there. It's like it's a metal piece that you put around. I don't know. Definitely not. I've never done that, but it'd be
Right,
funny if you
right.
did.
All right, last email here. It's from Luca.
Luca.
Funny thing happened last time I listened to this show.
Okay.
I was picking up my wife from work and I was
Flex.
waiting in the car listening to the show. And when she hopped in the car, I turned off the show. We drive home. And later that evening, my wife comes up to me and goes, "Honey, can we talk?"
Uh-oh.
My life flashes before my eyes. And
Yeah.
I'm mentally preparing for the rest of my life to live alone. So I ask her, "What's up?" And she goes, "Are you becoming religious?" And he's like, and he writes this on the side here, like religion's never been a big part of our lives. And I'm like, "What the fuck are you talking about?" And she says, "Well, I've heard you listen to these religious podcasts where they
What?
thank the Lord all the time."
Ah,
Thank you,
And
Lord.
he's like,
damn,
"What are you
this guy-
talking about?"
This is a great retention rate. This guy's closing every app. I love
Yeah,
that.
boom. And he's like, "What are you talking about?" She's like, "You were listening to it earlier when you picked me up. It's all right. I just want to know." And then he's like, and then everything
It's
clicked.
all right. He's like hiding it from her.
So so the display in
They
his
always
car.
thank the Lord, and then an '80s rock band.
So literally what happened was the display in Luca's car shows like the quote unquote lyrics every time you listen to Spotify. And just
Ah.
as I am shouting, "Thank you,
Yeah.
Lord," his wife opens the door and the display read, "Thank you, Lord." And he says, so apparently she thought I was finding Jesus. Meanwhile, I was listening to three guys argue about eel orgies.
Is that irony? I don't know. That's hilarious. What did we find out about eel orgies, by the way? Did we ever follow up
They
about that?
go to one. They just go to one place and then they spawn.
Free for all, like the Vias Dothrak of
Yes.
eels.
It's the Olympic Village.
Yeah, the Olympic Village of eels.
Oh, that's funny. Thank you, Lord.
Thank you. Yeah, there we go. All right. So
But honestly,
you,
really though, thank you, Lauren.
yeah. Thank you, Lauren. And also, yeah, thank you everyone for emailing us. Thank you everyone for watching this YouTube live stream. If you guys are listening to this podcast, if you want to watch the live streams on the Ringer NFL channel on YouTube, all our episodes are on YouTube as well, in addition to every platform. So you can subscribe to Ringer NFL. We'll be doing this every Tuesday night during the seasons. And
You
then
can see all
also-
the stuff that doesn't get cut out of the show like normal.
yeah,
Because we're
like
doing
how-
it live.
Yeah, like, that part about the nightstand, which Craig is probably going to really wish that we cut out of the show, but, it's fine. On the YouTube, it's forever. So,
Yeah, this is our Snyder cut every
Yeah.
Tuesday.
so email us about really, I mean, the nightstand thing, but really email us about Jupiter, clouds, weight versus mass, just what gas, solid. I don't know what's going on there, but please email us about that. And also email us trivia questions about that stuff too. And again, week four rankings will be up at fantasyfootball.therear.com. And you can check out Start Sit Questions there. And then, yeah, we have another preview coming on Friday. And then also Sunday recaps, Monday waivers, Wednesday power hours here. And then also, of course, Friday previews. Thank you, DK. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, Richter. Thank you, Kai and Carlos, for producing this episode. Thank you, Kiera. Thank you, Austin. There's so many people. There's a lot of people. Thank you to everyone. And of course, thank you, Lord.
Lord.
Thank you, Lord.
Oh,
Nice.
Ah,
We still got it.
You do. still
yeah.
got it. I like Lord. I'm a big
I
fan
like
of
her a
Lord.
lot too.
I love Lord. I think
Lord. I
Hey,
love
Lord!
Lord.
the
Tell us about your
Royal-
relationship with the Lord. With Lord.
I like the relationship with the Lord. Supercut's
With
a great
Lord.
song. Yeah.
Supercut's a great song. I think her
Supercut's
second album was
great.
a bit of a miss. She needs to come back strong.
Yeah, she was too horny on the second one. Like the album cover was kind of a thirst trap, but like
okay.
it's okay. But like I think Supercut's great. And
Is the Royals, is that the first album that she did?
Yeah.
With the Royals?
Yeah. Royals.
I think that whole album slaps.
It does.
Pitchfork-
I can listen to that from start to finish.
Yeah, really good.
Pitchfork ranked like all the songs of the 2010s, and they put Royals like top 5, and I was like, yeah, that's definitely true. It's
I know.
incredible.
It's a great song. It got played into the fucking dirt, though. Man,
Yeah.
by the time that thing was done, I was sick of it. But I agree. Now,
But I started
Later
listening to it
on.
again like last year. I don't know why it came up, but like I was like, damn, the songs. I just started singing it to myself like over and over. But
also, I think the Bad album was her third album because she had the Royals album was good, and then Melodrama had Supercut and Greenlight.
oh yeah, I'm wrong then. That one was great.
That one was good. It's the newest one, the one with the like her just like running in on the beach as the album cover.
Yeah, that one was a
that,
miss. And also,
that didn't hit. Eternal
second-
Sunshine, I think it's called.
yes, that one's fine. Second week in a row, this came up at the Charlie XCX 31st birthday party where like someone brought the bouquet of cigarettes and all these famous people came. Lord was like really.
Yeah, she's in the mix.
She looked like but she looked like she was trying harder than everyone else. I don't know how to like all the videos of her singing because she had a feature on that album and she was I don't know. She looked like she was trying much harder than everyone.
Oh, geez. Give her a break.
I know.
I like
my
Lord.
God. I love Lord. I love
Like
Lord.
Lord. I love Lord.
Love Lord. Yeah. But Lord,
It's
forgive me.
been great talking about Lord with you guys.
Yeah.
This has been a great Lord podcast. So
Good for the lore. All right, goodbye everyone.